Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the TSRC and JPB YouTube channels here for the second round of the TSRC Sports Car Challenge. Today, the drivers tackle the Fuji Speedway. A couple of facts about the track is it's got one of the longest straights in motorsport, being just shy of a mile in length. The circuit first opened in 1965, so compared to some circuits, it's relatively new, but it still makes it nearly 60 years old. So, you know, in terms of a human being, it's still quite a long time. But I'm very excited to see how the drivers get underway at this circuit. And if you remember from last week as well, we had quite the surprise. Nick Clibbons, if you remember, Biggles, unfortunately crashed out after leading by 18 seconds on the final lap of the race.
Yeah, I do remember that, wasn't it? It's just tragic. It's just tragic to make the mistake at the very crucial. That's why you never ever win a race, too, unless you actually see Barney at the very end and cross the line. As much as you'd love to, you know, you never get. It's never a walk in the park. It's very, very difficult. Once again, this is going to be another twisty and windy circuits, as those Japanese circuits generally are. You know, Suzuka and Fuji. Just one long straightaway you can see on the map there, where you're going to get your overtaking opportunities into turn one, no doubt. Qualifying is upon us and underway. Let's see how the drivers managed to tackling the qualifying situation.
Yeah, we've also got a couple of new drivers. I believe the only new driver that's taking part tonight is Ethan O-Ring, who is in the LMP3 class. I don't think he raced even in the pre-season, so he's coming into this a very unknown. So we'll see how he gets on as the race folds through and the qualifying folds through. But another thing to mention about the GT4 is that the top two, Jack Southfield and Nils Kaur, aren't taking part today, meaning we'll see a new person at the top. One thing that caught my eye was Tom Davidson. Didn't take part in the first race, but he did take part in the pre-season race, and he did win that race. So he's definitely a driver that we should be keeping an eye on in the GT4 class. Obviously, if you remember, the pit lane caused many issues last time. Many drivers missing their pit box, and it caused the likes of Bas Schulstra, I think Kieran Sharp, and I think it was also Andrew Pike to make a couple of mistakes and lose a lot of time in those pit stops. So you can see a couple of cars on track at the moment, and I'm just trying to update the track map so I can see the cars live on the circuit. Unfortunately, I can't, so we're not really sure whereabouts that Mr. Gurgley Kunshabu is at the moment, but he's purple in the first three sectors, so we'll see what he can manage as well. And if you remember, Biggles, he also crashed out at turn one at the beginning of the race last time out in Sebring.
He did as well, yes, exactly. Two of the top guns going out. He's around the final corner right now on the track map that you can see. About to start the straightaway, about to be putting probably the first time, the quickest time on the board right now, you would imagine, as it clicks on over. Long straightaway. It's really about halfway down there, and he's just about to come up to the line. Now, there it is, actually. That's a different line that you're looking at. The line's a little bit earlier up there. Time on the board should be our first representative time of our LMP trees. And should be coming up there in a second, we hope. There it is. Bingo. 147, 138, sorry, 0.774. That's for Mr. Martin. Oh, that might have been an invalidation. It has not come through.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it was. I think it was a 46 there for Gergely Contreba, but he must have been validated on his lap time. So we can see Martin sets the LMPs off, LMP3s off with a 1 minute 38.774. Now you can see some of the GT4 cars coming through with less than a tenth separated in the top three, being Ryan Walker, Andrew Pike and Kieran Sharp there, and Aston Martin, a Mercedes and a Porsche there, all in the top three. Then further back we can see Hamlin, Davidson, Higgins, Giles and Long also putting their lap times in with the whole top eight there. The GT4s have been separated by 1.2 seconds as now it is Pickler to the top for the LMP3s with a 1 minute 38.3, and that gets denied by Patrick Den, who puts in a 1 minute 38.115. So only 3 lap times so far in the LMPs. I'm interested to see how Josh Millington can do, as he's also someone who took victory for the LMP3s in the pre-season, didn't take part in the first round, so we'll see what he can do. I believe he's also on the circuit coming through in towards the final couple of sets. You can see he's green, green and green. He hasn't got any purple sectors at the moment on circuit, but you can also see Ethan Oring there going purple in a sector as well on the circuit for him, and he'll come around shortly to finish his first lap. So you can see him heading up towards that line. What will it be for Ethan Oring for his first qualifying lap? It will. That's Nick Clemens. Sorry, he goes quickest. He goes there with a 36.7. Oring goes quicker with a 36.668. Sabo into the top three as well, along with Millington into the top five. A lot of drivers setting their first lap times, and yet again Nick Clemens right near the top this time, being denied by Ethan Oring, who didn't take part last time. Nick obviously took pole in Sebring. Maybe this time, Biggles, he's got a challenger.
Yeah, he might very well, and that was good. And that was actually with a mistake too in the first sector for Ethan O'Ring. So he's got more pace to find, as I tell some of the other drivers are. You can see Ryan Walker at the moment, purple sector 2, and made a mistake in sector 1 as well. So we can still see that you can get yourself on pole if you do that, as he's going to be crossing the line. There he is. Mr. Walker will go to the top of the timesheets for the class there. Karen Sharp as well replaces it by getting 2 purple sectors. Times are tumbling thick and fast here in Fuji.
Yeah, and you can see a lot of drivers definitely improving. You saw about 4 or 5 drivers then move up to the top of the top. It was Hamlin, then Pike, then Walker, then Sharp. And Sharp still keeps that fastest time for the GT4s with a 1 minute.
Oh, I've lost you there for a second there, partner.
And I've lost the timings. We're back. Sorry about that one.
Here we go. So here we go back to the Hungarian driver there. So fastest first sector. Second sector wasn't necessarily the quickest, but it's got to be an all-important straight line speed out of the final corner exit. Loud on the gas pedal. This could be a very good time here. 74 thousandths of a second. Needs a 136.6. I think this might be 137.5. No. Well, nope, there it is, 136.6. He does do it by just 30 thousandths of a second, and then 46 thousandths of a second back to Nick Clemens. This is going to be tight.
It is, and I think Clemens also improved on his lap time, because he's closed into just 16 thousandths of O-Ring, who's now in second. So the top 3 separated by less than half a tenth. Further down in the GT4s, you can still see Kieran Sharp is quickest over Walker, Davidson and Pike in the top 4. And Andrew Pike and Kieran Sharp have both got purple sectors. Middle purple sector for Andrew Pike, purple first sector for Kieran Sharp. Unfortunately, so hopefully we can get them back shortly. There we are, and we can see that was Andrew Pike, but he didn't improve. He made a mistake in that final sector, which cost him a couple of seconds. Kieran Sharp, can he improve on his lap time? He goes up towards the line, and it won't be an improvement. He also made a mistake, and he was a second off his original fastest lap time. No, sorry, that's updated. He does go quicker by 50 thousandths of a second. Liam Giles up into the top 3 there, just 2 tenths back from Kieran Sharp. That's Tom Davison now, who goes quickest by nearly a tenth of a second. His first appearance here in the GT4 class for this season. He puts himself onto that.
Wow. And here comes Ethan O-Ring as well. So this time around, he's got the fastest first sector. Made a little bit of a mistake in the second sector, but so far, don't really worry too much about that. We saw the personal bests just coming from Mr. Davison before. It doesn't matter. It's your average overall speed. You don't have to be the fastest in any of the sectors. You just need to be the quickest in the overall time. Let's see if Mr. O-Ring is going to be denying the Hungarian driver in the number 11 machine. He will. He'll sneak this one around, and he's annihilated that by 3 tenths of a second. Where did he pull that lap time out of?
Yeah, that's a really good lap time. 3/10 ahead of Kunshabo and Clemens, who gone green in that first sector, so obviously seeing coming through in towards the middle sector shortly. As we can see a few of the times at the bottom, we got some Hamling. He's green and green in the first two sectors. Pickler's unfortunately gone yellow in the middle, so I think he's made some sort of mistake on his lap time. As we head through up towards the final couple of corners, this is with car 29, so this will be Liam Giles heading through to finish another lap time. He's gone green in the middle set to Tom Davidson, also improving. He went purple in the first, he went green in the middle set, so we'll see if he can try and edge his gap even more to what it is to Kieran Sharp at the moment, as he's also going to be heading up towards the line shortly. We'll see if Liam Giles makes the improvement, as that's Ryan Walker going into fourth now. Tom Davidson, can he make an improvement? I think he does, as he heads to the line. No, he wasn't. He was 5 thousandths down on his original time, so losing a slight bit of time in that final sector there for Davidson. And I've noticed so far, Biggles, a lot of drivers making mistakes in that final couple of corners.
Yeah, well, it is, isn't it? This section right here that you're looking at, Mr. Clibbins. Do it, and there it is. So right on cue, I would have to say. Pushed it a little bit too much. He already knew he was down on his times as the qualifying session has coming to a close. Do apologise for the connection between yourself and my friend across the Atlantic is breaking a little bit in and out there. So as you might be cutting in and out, I know that you're also struggling to receive some of the information that I'm sharing to you. So we'll do our absolute best, because that is our qualifying session over. And I've got the grid for you to go over there for us, please.
Yeah, very, very swift qualifying session. 10 minutes, and it is Ethan O'Ring on pole there, 3/10 ahead of Gurley Kunsabo in second, followed by our last week's, was about to be race winner, Nick Clibbins in third. Bash Ilstra, who did take the victory, starts in fourth ahead of Josh Millington, Maurice Pickler, Patrick Dent, and Thomas Martin for the LMP3 category. Then for the GT4s, we have Tom Davidson making his first appearance here. He's on pole ahead of Kieran Sharp, and last race's podium sitter Hamling in third ahead of Walker. Then we got Pike, Giles, David Long, Pavel Bogdan in the top 8. Then finally, rounding out, we got Bobby Moss and John Higgins in the top 10. So a bit of a smaller grid compared to last time. A very short qualifying session. Some drivers might have thought they would have been deserved to be a little bit higher, but unfortunately, with it being such a short quali session, you make 2 or 3 mistakes, that is your quali session done.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So the laps that you put in have to be, first of all, like the banker laps. Speak that banker lap in, and then you start pushing as much as you can. And the beauty of it, of course, is that you push it during the qualifying session. So if you do happen to go around, that's okay. It was lone qualifying as well too, so they don't see the other cars on the track. Hence the lone. And then after that, you never know. If you push it too hard and you do happen to make it stick around the track, then great, you're going to have fantastic times. But at least if you do go around, you've still got your initial banker lap in to fall back on. And so that'll be the situation as it is with all racing. See some of the fantastic liveries that some of the drivers have, some of the new drivers, and some of the other drivers, and we're going to get ready to go racing.
Yeah, we'll get ready for the formation lap here in round 2 at the Fuji Speedway. So we'll see the lights pop on shortly, and then we can see the drivers head off down in towards final corner with the safety car leading them away yet again. And is that a different car this time? Is it the Mustang? Is it?
Yeah, it's a Mustang.
Or is it? Oh, I thought it was a Mercedes for a second. We're a little bit far out with the Helico, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
We can definitely see the cars.
Yeah.
We can definitely see the MP3. It's a lot bigger than the safety car, indeed.
There it is.
Yep.
GT Mustang.
Mr. O-Ring, who's on pole, and we'll have a bit of a run through of what happened last race. Obviously, it was Bash Silter in the LMP3s who took victory over Patrick Den and Maurice Pickler in the top 3. Then in the GT4s, the top 3 was Jack Sayfield, Nils Core, and Kieran Sharp. Jack and Nils, as you can see on the screen, aren't here today, so it's all down to see what Kieran Sharp can get up to in his Porsche, to see if he can try and take his first victory. But Tom Davidson looking very strong in his Mercedes, so we'll see if he also has a chance to take victory in that car. And you can see there are a couple of cars swapping around as they're on that formation lap, heading down in towards that first corner shortly. And I believe it is a full formation lap, so obviously we'll take them all the way around the circuits so they can get everything warmed up, they can try and eye up some of the braking zones, ready for that race. And also, another thing we have to always put into factory is that we'll have fuel stops. Every single driver will have to make a fuel stop. I think last race it was around 25 minutes in, so probably somewhere around that 20 to 30 minutes we'll see the drivers head into the pits and make their pit stops, get themselves onto some new fuel, sometimes some new tyres as well, to head back out to track and then complete their final stint. And as we know from last time, a lot of drivers making very key mistakes by overshooting their pit boxes, costing some drivers 10-15 seconds of time.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's because drivers sometimes, I feel that they're not practicing enough of their pit stops. So they always got out there putting in laps over and over and over again to get the quickest times you can. But very, very crucial, isn't it, to make sure you spot your pit box perfectly, because in the simulation of iRacing, you have to, of course, it does cost you just as it does in real life, like in Formula 1, they miss that their box correctly, then the teams have to adjust. We're talking fractions of seconds, but of course you have to adjust to move. And at that point, you're realizing, damn, all that extra racing pace that I've done is now just fallen off the cliff because of a slight little mistake in the pits. So, gentlemen out there, practice your pit stops more often so that you can definitely disregard that from happening or perhaps spoiling your race.
Yeah, it's one thing that we thought cost Bash Shelter the win, because he then was 18 seconds back from Clibbons. He was only a few seconds back, obviously, before he made that issue. And well, in the end, Clibbons went a little bit too overboard into turn 1 on the final lap of the race. No pushing needed. He was 18-20 seconds ahead of the field. Ended up in the wall. Did finish P5 as he managed to nurse the car back through. But he was about, I think, like a minute and a half off. So, a big shame for Clibbons. Maybe he can try and do it today. But Ethan O-Ring making his first appearances looked very strong. Kunshaba, we didn't see anything of him. I believe it was lap 2 where he crashed off down at turn 1 in his LMP3 car. So 2 of the quickest drivers making very key mistakes on that opening round. So we got them both today. Hopefully they can both make the finish of the race, and we'll see how they all get on. But I'm very keen to see what Ethan O-Ring can do, as he put in a great performance, didn't he, in qualifying?
Oh, absolutely. This is going to be good. He is eager to get on with it at the moment too. Both the drivers are. Come on, pace car, get out of the way. Just typical race drivers, isn't it? Like you get in Formula 1, they go, race control, can you please tell the pace car to speed up? I think you should be using something like a Formula 3 car or a Super Formula or something like that there as a pace car rather than just a GT Mustang. But yeah.
You wouldn't want the safety car crashing out, though, would you, on the opening lap? That would be an ideal scenario. We know that some of the Formula cars, tend to be quite a handful to drive, and obviously we know the Super Formula is a car that is used quite a lot around this circuit, isn't it?
Well, actually, in another racing league that I cast at probably the last year or something like that, there was somebody was driving the pace car, and it was at Long Beach, and it was in their GT3s, mixed classes like this too, and then bang, they plowed us straight into the fence in the final turn. And it caused a crash of the other cars behind, and that was the pace car. So, the pace car in this one's not driven, I believe, by anybody. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, but if they like to do it, the pace car is going to peel in. Should be very soon there, and we're going to get ready to go racing here for our round 2.
Normally, you'd be very quick on heading down that straight, but it's a very long straight, nearly a mile long. I think it's something like 0.91 miles in length. So a very long pit lane indeed. You can see the GT4 just long straight. You can see the GT4 just popping in behind as well out of that final corner, and the safety car should peel off in towards the pits, or the pace car should peel off in towards the pits soon.
Yeah, there is.
And there it is. Peels off very late, so we'll see it soon. It's O-Ring on pole ahead of Gurgly Kunshabo down towards that first corner. It's quite a long run in towards that first corner, so we're not sure when they will go, but surely you will see the red lights pop up, or the green lights pop up on your screen as they now get raring to go. Down towards that first corner, Clibbons as well in a decent position. He would like to get himself up the inside, if he can, of Gunshabu into that first corner, and they go red. The red lights are out. When does O-Ring put his foot down? Down towards turn 1, they are off. In towards that first corner, a very good start from many of them, nearly going 3 wide into that first corner. That is, I think, Josh Millington up the inside there of Clibbons into turn 1. A big crash, bit of a crash. That's Clibbons in towards that first corner, making contact with Ethan O-Ring into turn 1, and a big spin behind, and that's his part of his front car gone, and he now drops then all the way to the back of the field for the MP3s, and then back at the front for the GT4s. Tom Davidson a good lead away as they go through 3 wide in towards turn 1, and that's Ryan Walker making good positions, Hamling down to P3. Kieran Sharp also losing 3 positions on that start. A very hectic start down at turn 1 at Fuji. Do you think maybe that long straight caught a few drivers off guard?
Oh, absolutely. The different speed difference coming into that first turn, and you kind of knew what was going to happen. That's one of the overtaken opportunities, and that's somebody off into the background. A couple of drivers actually come thinking of that. That might be Pike. And maybe we've lost Gills as well. Interesting. Very, very interesting. This is actually spicing and dicing right here. So we'll keep an eye. I'll show you the telemetry information up in a second. But this is where you've got a 3-way battle occurring here currently at the moment with the GT class.
Yep, heading down in towards this next corner. This is really one of the hairpins, and we're on board currently with Mr. Long, who's in P4 on the back of Kieran Sharp. You can see the gap there between Kieran Sharp and Ryan Walker is 0.2 of a second, and already Tom Davidson's put out a 1.8 second gap to Ryan Walker, so a lot of pace on that first lap from him indeed. Now we're on board with John Higgins in P7. He's right on the back of Pavel Bogdan. In towards this next corner they go. Through down towards turn 16, the final corner, down at Panasonic, ready to go down that long 1 mile straight in towards the first corner. Still O-Ring leading away from Josh Millington, who started in P5. He's got himself up into the top 2. So a very good start from him, and this looks like this could be the battle for the lead this whole race, long as Gunsabo drops outside a second now, and then you've got Patrick Denner second and a half behind him as they all pile down out in towards the end of this first sector, down towards turns 1, 2 and 3. And you can see a little bit further back, this is Pickler, who finished on the podium last race in Sebring. He's now currently sitting in the top 5, a couple tenths back from Patrick Denner, who's now dropping a lot more time to the top 3. And then this is the battle in towards turn 1 for John Higgins, up the inside there of Pavel Bogdan as they head down in towards turn 2. Very nice move there to put him into the top 6. And you can see a lot of drivers getting very feisty on these opening couple of laps, which in a 40-minute race you wouldn't really think they would do.
Oh, well, they have, and they're going to have to continue to do it for 37 more minutes. Higgins, a great job, of course. He is now placed himself up 4 positions, getting with, obviously, that first lap incident that had occurred. And we'll get back into replays in a minute to have a look at what happened in both of the different categories at the race start. We did see a lot of carnage and pushing and, elbows out racing. That's what it is. And at the moment, there, Mr. Bogdan wants it back for the Croatian driver, I think it is, from number 38 machine. He's going to try to round the outside there. That's going to be bold and brave. Do the switcheroo as you go through the S's. Nope. Yeah. Let's stay on behind. Oh, the blinking as well, too, of Higgins is going to be very annoying for the driver. We had that last week. Super, super frustrating, as you know. But further up the top of the tweets, and then we go down the main straightaway. Will this be an opportunity there for Josh to try to take the lead of this race from O-Ring?
Yep, heading down in towards that first corner gap, just over 0.2 of a second into the braking zone. Lifts off, doesn't want to make that move in towards that first corner. Kunsamo's also got himself back into that fight for the top 2. He's just 0.8 tenths back now from O-Ring and Millington as they head down in towards turns 2 and 3. Then you'll come up to 100R, which is turns 4 and 5. A little bit like 130R, I believe. This is because it's a 100-degree corner, like it is at Suzuka.
I would not be, I would not be surprised if anybody knows out in the chat. We are reading the chat. Hello, hello. Of course, we'll get a chance to take my eyes off the screen. We will scroll on through that. Thank you very much for tuning in and joining it. And once again, here it is. So this battle between these two gladiators are at it, or samurais if you're here in Japan. Oh.
Bit feisty in towards that first corner there from Higgins. Very, very keen to get himself back ahead of Bogdan. These two have been swapping positions all race long, and you can see Higgins popping down in towards turn 3. I believe this is called Coca-Cola Corner, which I didn't think Coca-Cola was a Japanese company. Or
no, it's not. Sponsoring, of course, of the corner names. That's just like if you look at the Dutch circuit and stuff like that as well. Too, in Zandvoort, it's got all the sponsors still for the names.
Yep, as we can still see Bogdan, and this is, I think, the only battle realistically in this GT4 class. As you can see, Tom Davidson has actually swept the field, and this is the battle further down. This is Pickler and this is Patrick Den up in towards the exit of the final corner, down towards turn 1. Great exit there from Pickler. Can he get a move to put himself into the top 4 as they head down in towards that first corner, just coming past the pit lane, a long run in towards turn 1, very close to contact between the two as they go over that start finish straight very shortly. Start finish line very shortly to head themselves in towards turn number 1. And I think Pickler has just got himself ahead as they come down. I think he has. They head into the braking zone. Inside for Pickler. Later braking though for Den, but he's back up the inside. Very nice move. A little bit deep there from Den in towards turn 1, and that puts Pickler now into the top 4. Bash straight in P6. He's looking to get himself back onto the rear of this battle as they head down in towards turn.
We did lose you again there for a second, my friend Nathan. Sorry.
Yep, no issues.
Yeah.
There must have been an issue down your end as the screen, unfortunately,
yes,
went away. So I saw the start of the battle, didn't see the end of it.
Oh. This battle's still continuing, isn't it, between these two drivers, Higgins and Bogdan. Oh, and this is the problem. We do know in race control that blinking is going to be a very, very frustrating. The Slovakian driver, sorry, not the Croatian driver. I do apologise about that.
Yeah, people do get very annoyed with the blinking, of course. And this is this battle, yes, again for P6 and 7 down in towards this next corner down at turn 6 at the hairpin. And do we see move this time around? No, but very wide for Bogdan on the exit as at turn 5 as they head down towards turn 6 and 7. David Long there, we can see in the top 4, just about 2 seconds back from Kieran Sharp, who's right on the back of Ryan Walker for P2. Tom Davidson still edging out that gap to the second place. That's now 2.2 seconds as they go on to around their 5th or 6th lap. As they're 6 minutes in out of 40. Remember, they will make a pit stop around that 25 to 30 minute mark, and this is the replay of the race start. This is for the GT4 class from Border Hamling as they head down towards. Swapping around. This is the
very start.
LMP3s.
Yeah, we can see the very start of the LMP3s here from a chopper cam. You can see they're weaving at the moment there at Millington to try to get the temperature into those tyres. You've got O-ring on the right-hand side. Actually, it's not. Millington's back here. Millington's the one that ends up in P2, which he's currently running at the moment. So he gains 3 positions. So let's have a look what the 86 machine does. As hopefully, at some point, it's going to give us some information. Yeah, it's so very difficult to get a replay of that one. Sorry, we'll see if we can get it out now. Green flag now. There we go. So let's have a look. Look at the acceleration he gets. Now, green, green, green. And then look at that. Looks up on the inside here. Full pedal to the metal. And they start breaking up. There's the contact right there between the other drivers and then bang.
He got a bit of a poor launch, then managed to get it back into turn 1, broke a little bit too late. He had Millington up the inside, that could have also caught him off guard, and then into the back of our race leader, Ethan O-ring, who luckily got away with that one unscathed, and he's still leading the pack ahead of Josh Millington, who started P5. You could see in that pink livery car in towards turn 1, got 2 of them in towards that first one, and then he got past, I believe it was Sabo as well, into turn 1, put himself into that top 2. This is the GT4, so this is Tom Davidson leading them away with Kieran Sharp. You can see on the left-hand side down towards turn 1. It seems Kieran had a really poor launch as well. Down in towards that first one, you can see there a bit of a covering off from Tom Davidson. That's Hamling in second now as they're heading towards the first corner. And I believe they were just the most ideal line. Davidson broke a lot later into turn 1. That's a send up the inside. That might have been Pike who got involved with a bit of contact as well. That's Ryan Walker, going 3 wide down through towards turn 2. Then back to the left-hander at turn 3. And we'll see what happens here. Ryan Walker, you can see now in the top 2. Launching ahead was Sharp, I believe, and so you can see Hamling as well now hovering around that podium position as they head round in towards the turn 4 section, and then kind of all breaks away. And that was, I couldn't see that one back. That was Liam Giles, wasn't it? Off in the background, and that was where Pike got spun round as well. So a bit of contact on those first opening laps. Big shame considering it's a 40-minute race, and Giles, he only made 2 corners before he was out of it.
Exactly right. You win some, you lose some. Unfortunately, that's just racing at a level of competition that they're at.
Den.
Sorry, sir.
Dropped down. Yeah, Den's dropped down 12 seconds from Clibbons.
So
he's made a mistake somewhere on the track.
Yes, he has. He's actually gone off. Let's have a look.
Let's have a look at this. This is Patrick Den.
Yeah, he was at the back here. He's definitely made a mistake here. Oh, hits the bump, isn't it? And then this is going to be a heavy impact. He's trying to... Oh, he does get it stopped in time. Lucky for the runoff area.
Very good. Yeah, very big runoff area, and that helped him a lot indeed. Big shame there for Patrick Den, however, but he does get himself back underway, unfortunately dropping down to about 12 to 13 seconds back from where he was originally. Yeah, very big bump going on that curb as well. That is the last thing you want. So this is on board with Josh Millington in towards turn 1 on the back of Ethan O-ring as they head down towards turns 2 and turn 3. And Kun Shabo as well, not really making any inroads into this top 2 battle, but just sitting comfortably behind there in third, about a second back, kind of probably waiting for something to happen. Maybe one of them goes wide, or maybe both of them go wide in a bit of battle. He can pop himself up the inside or around the outside, get himself into that lead, which is something he would have liked, and he would definitely like some redemption after what happened last time out in Sebring, where at turn 1, I think it was on lap 2 or 3, made a bit of a big impact into that wall, unfortunately losing the rear, very similar to what Nick Clibbons did, which pretty much ended his race. And unfortunately, Nick Clibbons not really getting that resurgence back at all. He's currently in P6 fighting for P5 with Bash Shelstra, who was our race winner last time out in Sebring, and this is Andrew Pike, a replay of him as he's heading down and yet again going wide a bit. That's the exact same thing as what happened to Patrick Den. Yes. Exact same part of the track, going a little bit too deep into that curb. Spins the car around completely. Nothing you can do at that high speed to catch the car, especially when it's in a long, long corner.
I wonder if Patrick's done a similar thing again. No, this is into turn 1.
That's what happened on the brakes, and completely locked up. That's a bit of a rookie mistake, isn't it? Especially to look up at that high speed in towards that first corner. I think, he's got very warm tyres. He's probably a bit hot-headed after what happened, and has now just sent it, and unfortunately has ended quite unfortunate for him into turn 1. But this is a battle for P2 in the GT4 class. That's Kieran Sharp on the back of Ryan Walker. These two had a nice battle. They finished P3 and P4 in the Sebring race last time at round 1, and we'll see if they will finish P2 and P3 this time. Kieran Sharp finished third. He would like definitely to finish in that top 2. Tom Davidson, I think, is checked out on those two. He's 2.5 seconds ahead, and this is a battle for P5. This is Clibbins up the inside of Shilstra in towards turn 1.
Oh, that's not good.
Even more contact in towards that first corner. So Shilstra's gone off, and that was also Clibbins into the wall. Big shame they continue on, but I presume there might be a bit of damage. They've lost heavy time to the cars ahead. That is something which will definitely be looked at by the Shields, and I would say Clibbins probably a bit of fault moving over to the left there, causing a bit of contact with Shilstra, and big shame for the two of them to now drop 7 seconds back from Pickler, who's now in a very good position. This is replay, and you can see there Clibbins, he just moves over to the left. No need for that whatsoever. Then the bounce back comes over, hits the back of Shilstra, sends him round. Also sends Clibbins into the wall there. Big shame. Luckily, no damage, I don't think, for Shilstra, as he missed any bit of wall. Dipped his front left into the grass, spun round, and luckily could continue. But that one will definitely be looked at, and I think Clibbins as well will feel quite appalled with what happened there, because it's it's not something that was done on purpose. It just seemed like he wasn't really paying attention too much down in towards that first corner.
Yeah, the turn, you saw there's no need for a turn, because you haven't approached the corner just yet, the straightaway. And he's well aware of the car right next to him, because they're side by side. I thought, going into that, you guys are a little close. Like, you can see how wide the track is. You could probably fit 5 cars width-wise across, and yet they're not yielding a single inch on this. Perhaps Josh thinking about, no, at the moment, happy just to sit back at the end there of Mr. O-Ring, and then once again you got our other driver in the back there, the number 11, just lurking in the background, just perhaps waiting for something to happen.
Well, I think it's a little bit like what we saw last time in Sebring, the top 2. No one really made a move, did they? It was between Clibbins and Shilstra for quite a long time, and those two didn't really make a move. As Clibbins is into the pit lane, I believe he must have got some sort of damage there on his car. You can see him there just rolling in towards the pits, and it could also just be a very early stop for fuel. I don't think that's the case, as that is Higgins looking for a move now onto Hamling in towards turn 10. Round the outside he goes, a little bit deep. Hamling cuts back across through turn 11. Inside line, very nice move there for John Higgins to pop himself into 5th. Running a little bit wide on the exit there at turn 12, but very comfortable move made. And I'm sure he will be very happy with that one. And Hamling will be quite annoyed, because that's not normally a place you can execute a move, definitely down at turn 10 and 11. So maybe you can see possibly a switch back and Hamling try and get himself back ahead of Higgins, who we know has had a bit of battling all race long. Lots of battling with Bogdan, lots of battling there with Hamling.
Oh, but that's what I'm worried about. That blinking there. That's going to be very, very frustrating for Hamilton. I'm so saying Hamilton, of course. Let's just say the 351 machine, because he's about to approach it at a corner there, and of course you don't know where the car is. This will be looked at and investigated by race control. If you are, I think if it's starting to affect the other drivers around you, and once again, we can't take it away from Higgins. He's doing his absolute best. It's just like our little connection issues that we're having together at the moment, And now also the traffic's coming to play, isn't it? Because there is your race leader in the LMP3s, and as they all try to squeeze through, thankfully one of the GT4s gets completely out of the way. We saw how much that comes into play, doesn't it, in the race? And it was. What are we looking at now? At least almost 15 minutes into it, and yes, that's when they start to do this. Around the outside, of course, they can, because of the power difference you're going to have. Remember, if you are overtaking the drivers, the other drivers in the slower class, they just stick to their racing line, and you got to go around your way if you are in the LMP3s in this case. Yeah, there it is. See?
There's a head round, very nice, and Millington making a bit of contact with O-Ring on multiple occasions as they head down into the braking zone at turn 10, and one of the Mercedes there braking a little bit too late in towards that corner. That wouldn't have been ideal at all, and that was David Long there in P4 in the GT4 class. But you can see now the top 3 of the LMP3s heading away now without any more traffic to look through for now. They head down in towards turn 15. Then they got the leaders. They got first, second, and third sitting ahead of them in that class, which is Davidson, Walker, and Sharp. You can see now if you're in Josh Millington's view, them just sitting a little bit ahead in towards turn 16, and we should see them probably get past them by the end of this next lap, as long as they make no major mistakes. So, heading out to turn 1, back to the inside for O-ring, then tucks back under for a bit of slipstream into that first corner from the GT4 car of Kieran Sharp, then passing Ryan Walker, followed suit by Josh Millington and Kun Shabo in towards that first corner. You can see Tom Davidson a little bit more ahead, so they'll probably pass him in. Yeah, definitely won't be into turn 1, so it would be down probably into around turns 3 or 4.
I think they're going to approach this there right here. They're going to approach this GT. Oh, thankfully not right into the corner. That would have been spicy and dicey. At this point right now, you're going to go send up the inside there. As you can see, Mr. O-Ring does, and it should actually allow to help both the drivers. We're about further back here at the moment. I was going to say the P3, yeah, gets him on the exit, no problems. Traffic management is very, very crucial in these classes of racing. So you love it when it works your way. You hate it when it doesn't go your way.
Yeah, we've had our first pit stop. Hamling in the GT4 class headed into the pits there. He's now popped back out in P9, last of that field. So I'm not sure if you're going to be damaged or if he just went in for his fuel pit stop. 16 minutes in, 17 minutes in the race, so nearly halfway throughout round 2 here at the TSRC Sports Car Change. Remember, if you'd like to subscribe and like to the TSRC page and the JPB pages, remember this will be uploaded on the JP Broadcasting channel after this race has finished. So you can also check it out there if you'd like to see the replay of this, I was going to say Grand Prix, but it's not really a Grand Prix, it's more of an endurance race, isn't it, in a way?
Yeah, it is. So, yeah, to say. Well, it's, you know, it's a bit in between, just show of an hour. So it's good, gets the drivers not to be absolutely exhausted and tired, but you get a good 40 minutes plus your qualifying course and your practice session. And we're at the moment with the boss man, Kieran Sharp, doing everything in his power to get past Mr. Walker.
Yeah, turn 15, he went a little bit deeper on that curb, and luckily managed to get the car out of the curb without ending up round at that corner. So they head down back in towards that first corner now, and it is still Davidson leading them away, but actually that gap has come down to 1.5 seconds. So obviously what happened there down at turn 1 last lap with the LMP3s had cost him about half a second, so it's brought Ryan Walker out on the back of him, and also Kieran Sharp rides on the back of Ryan Walker in towards that first corner to pop himself into that P2. Obviously finished P3 last time, so would like a double podium, and I think will be the only one so far in this series in both the GT4s and GT3s to get a podium twice in a row, so that he will definitely be very proud with that result indeed. And consistency, I would say, considering how close the point system is, definitely I'd say sometimes is a lot more rewarding than the outright pace.
Yeah, you said it absolutely right on that. Bobby Moscow's down into pit road for his first time this evening. We've had so we've only had this driver of Nick, and we all know that Nick was involved in that incident, had already made his pit stop. And we do have a driver that's retired. So Mr. Den had retired.
Patrick Den. Yeah, Patrick. Big show. Obviously made that couple of mistakes, didn't he? Den at turn 15, then Den at turn 1. So he thought, that is my day done. But unfortunately, after finishing, I believe it was P2, last round in Sebring has now decided to retire. So we'll be stuck on 35 points. That will definitely put him in quite a poor position in the championship, because you can see everyone behind him pretty much taking part. So we'll drop down to around P6, P7 in the championship, so not ideal at all for Mr. Den there. But obviously there's still 4 more rounds after this left to go, so we can always try and resurge that championship charge back. But back down towards turn 1, Millington on the back of Ethan O-Ring in towards turn 1. Is he close enough to make an overtake? He is close enough to make an overtake, but he won't bother. As you can see, just lifting off completely in towards that turn 1. That gap actually came up by about 0.2 of a second in the braking zone. John Higgins there ahead of David Long down towards turn 1, and that was also involved with a bit of incident with one of the LMPs, and David Long into the pit lane, so he's making his first pit stop along with that LMP3 car of Bash Shilstra also into the pit lane, so they're making their first pit stop. So I'd say probably the first realistic pit stop for the LMP3s and the second realistic pit stop for the GT4s.
I muted there for a second. Yes, exactly. Ryan Walker there. Mr. Sharp still kind of at it 2 for now between the 464 and the 23 machine. I'm wondering the call's going to come up right now for these top 3. Who's going to go in? And once again, they're all going to elect to go in each other. And they're going to remember, get your pit stop boxes correct this time, gentlemen, because considering you're all separated by a second, one little mistake right now, and your next 20 minutes of this race is going to be push, push, push like mad. In fact, this man just at the back there at the moment is fastest lap on the last lap. But now just
Yeah,
made a little
35.5.
mistake and dropped back there. It's only a little bit of a mistake.
Oh, and you can see the outflow in that slipstream down towards turn 1. I don't think any of them made a pit stop. No, they didn't. You can just see now Millington goes in very heavily on the back of Ethan O-Ring in towards this first corner. Down this very long, as we say, 1 mile straight. I think that's about 1.6 kilometres long, which is, as it said before, one of the longest in motorsports. And you can tell because it is quite a long run before they hit that
that's a
first
lock-up.
corner, and that's wide from Ethan O-Ring. Gone off track. That puts Josh Millington into the lead. They head down in towards turns 2 and 3, and O-Ring a little bit too far back. Can he make a lunge in towards turn 3? No, he can't. 6 behind. So Josh Millington, after not leading at all, takes the lead. 21 minutes in, just over halfway of this race, ahead of O-Ring and now Gunshabo very close onto the back of O-Ring as they head through towards turns 4 and 5, and shortly in towards that hairpin. But that is, as we said before, one little mistake could completely end that victory, or could completely end your race.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So Martin's in the pit road. That's just one little tiny mistake. That's what he's been doing flawlessly. Just snapped a brake, and then bingo, just like that. But then again, now it's up to Mr. Millington if he's going to make the call of heading into pit road, and that will elect Mr. O-Ring to follow him in or not.
So. Big of a jump there on that curve from Mr. Millington in towards turn 15 they go. Then they'll come back round in towards turn 16 at the final corner at Panasonic, and then we'll see if anyone decides to adventure in towards the pit. So you can see there Martin just entering the pits now, exits in the pit, from his first pit stop and probably his only pit stop in this race. And you can see Kunshaba on the back of O-Ring as they head down towards turn 1. Great last lap there from Millington, got ahead and then pushed hard. He's now nearly second ahead of the top 2, and I believe they both entered. No, they didn't. So it looks like they're going to enter the pits at some points. Yeah. But yeah, bit of a dummy there from O-Ring to try and send Kunshabo in, but luckily Kunshabo's kept right with him and thought, no, I'm not going to fall for that. And into turn 1, do we see move 4 P2 into the braking zone? We do. A bit of a lock up there, nearly into the back of O-Ring. You can see Kunshabo a little bit too deep on the brakes, and also O-Ring yet again going wide at the exit of turn 2. They head down in towards turn 3. The gap just 0.3 of a second. Do we see move there in towards here? No, we don't, but you can still see Kunshabo pretty much pushing O-Ring, and that one mistake there from O-Ring has pretty much made him. It seems like he's lost a bit of confidence in the car, hasn't it?
It does. I mean, then it gets tricky. Maybe we're not quite sure. They're taking tyres at all those pit stops. We don't really see. It's 46-second pit stops overall, 11 seconds stationary. That'll be very interesting. We'll have to see. This battle is working quite well, isn't it, for Millington, because now he's got a bit of a breathing space of 1.2 seconds, and that'll give him a little bit more time to get into his pit box and not have to literally drive through one of the other drivers to spot your braking point.
But look at that gap to P3 and P4. 20 seconds to P4. It's then, 40... In total, it's just over a minute to P5 from Kunshabo and O-Ring. So, if they make one mistake, luckily they can still probably finish in a podium position, as long as it isn't a mistake at the level of what Nick Clibben's made.
Say on that one, my friend.
Bit of a spin, it's fine, but not hitting the wall, that definitely won't pay you any favours at all. But they head back down towards turn 1, and the top 3 all stay out as they head in towards that first corner shortly, just past the pit lane entry. And they're also going to pass this, I think, might be David Long in towards turn 1, or Bobby Moss, one of the two. And you can see there those two. Second and third, O-Ring and Kunshabo just popping himself up the inside into the braking zone, and things like the Mercedes tried to hold it around the outside, but definitely not into the braking zone. You can see those cars, those LMP3s got a lot more power than the GT4s by quite a lot as well, and a little bit of a battle still going on in the GT4s. The only battle is between the second and third. This is a replay of Bash Shillstrap. Let's see what happened to him. That's
a rear going out. Look at him correcting. He's almost, to almost drifting that one quite well, actually. So
yeah,
you could see the front wheel. Just really trying to turn in and out. Like maybe he's got used to the new rally simulation game, I think, that was released just the other day. There, he's like, all right, let's go rallying.
Yeah, no, race winner from back in round 1 is now down in P7. So not a big. Quite a big shame for him indeed, and you can see there's been so many changes in the championship. This is the move into turn 1 from Kieran Shot. Can he make the move into P2? No, he can't. He's a little bit too far, but that does send Ryan Walker very deep down at the exit. So they make a bit of contact nearly into turn 2. Down in towards turn 3, you can see Kieran Shot probably closest than he's ever been so far in this race. Is he closer to make a move? No, he wasn't. He was optimistic into turn 1. Sent Ryan Walker wide. Luckily, Ryan Walker could keep it carrying down towards turn 2, and luckily kept himself for him back in that P2 spot. But as I was saying, Schilter, winner of round 1, down in P7 for round 2. A lot of changes in the championship, a lot of new drivers making their way up towards the top of the standings after this race. And you can see now the battles are kind of starting to die down. You can see O-Ring's now still outside of second to Millington. So that gap will surely just increase and increase. And that's also Andrew Park there just popping himself out of the pit lane on the pit exit now. So he's made his mandatory pit stop for fuel. And David Long put himself ahead into P7. This is Kieran Sharp, but yet again on the back of Ryan Walker down in towards turn 14, in towards turns 13, 14 and 15 they go. And this Porsche looks like it's on absolute rails compared to this Aston Martin.
Oh, yeah, you can see like the look at control on the car there. So much more speed on the exit as he gets his power down. Once again, we're looking at the boss man of this fantastic league. You've got, it looks like Mr. Pinchler has gone into pit road there as well too for the 32 machine. We're still wondering when our leaders are going to hit in, but this is the battle potentially for P1 because, remember, Mr. Davison is just up the road by 1.3 in the Mercedes that we can't see right now on this one, but believe me, he's about to be coming into turn 1 soon. There he is. You can see on the very left-hand side of the picture there with a fantastic racing helmet that some of these drivers do happen to have. I think that's one big smiley face or something like that.
Yeah, I think it is, yeah. But on board with Kieran Sharp yet again, and oh no, we're back on board with Colin Chavo, who is heading through in towards the final corner. He's looking to put himself ahead back into P2. We've got Bogdan, who's headed into the pits along with John Higgins. So those two now thinking their time is done on that original fuel amount, and the top 3 in the GT4 class and the top 3 in the LMP3 class. Still both haven't pitted. And Kunshaba's gaining. He's less than a tenth as they head down into turn 1. Do we see a move for P2? Will Ethan Owen go from P1 to P3 after 27 minutes? No, we won't, because you can see Kunshaba just doesn't want to pass. He had more than enough pace to pass, but just set back in the braking zone. So doesn't want to really make much of a battle with O-Ring as they head down in towards turn number 3.
Yeah, that was interesting. You could see clearly, so it was gaining. You could have pulled out. Remember, you got to pull out to the dirty air too. You got to really just hit a brick wall at that point. But it also throws the dummy once again to your opponent to make them look in their mirrors and then make them have to adjust their racing line. Perhaps if they go onto the defense, so that they're going to go off the racing line, they're going more to the middle. You got to play these mind tricks against your opponents. It's sometimes if you're so evenly matched on pace, it's the only little edge that you have. Welcome everybody in the chat. Come on, Bobby. Come on, Tom. Why, Greg? I'm going to rebet that. Do you want to see Mr. Fish on pole? We are getting down to 11 about just under shy of 12 minutes to go in this race. So this is going to be crunch time because drivers have to go into pit road. We do have Tony and Mr. Tom going in, Mr. Walker going in, and Mr. Sharp going in. So they're going to continue that battle in and out of pit road.
They will, yes, as they head through. I think they've already made their pit stops as we see them. But let us know in the chat, everyone, who you think will take victory in the GC4 and LMP3 class. 3 drivers from each category have the chance to do so. And you can see there that was Kieran Sharp popping in. Does he overshoot it this time? I don't think he does. I think he made it in this time. Luckily for him, and can still try and fight easily for that podium again. And you can see there, Josh Willington stays out. Ethan Overing goes into the pits. Gurgley Kunshaba also goes into the pits there for 2nd and 3rd in the LMP3 class. And Frank Schilter, of course, bit far down in P7, but you never know. We saw what happened last time. He went from being 20 seconds behind in P2 to winning after that mistake from Cleveland. So maybe. I don't think it's likely, but you never know what's going to throw at us in the next 10 minutes of racing, as we can see them soon. They just head back into their pits and they will make their first and final, or hopefully, final pit stops in this race.
Look at the angle as well, too. That's going to be very interesting. We'll see who comes out first, if Owen can get the power down. No.
Oh.
That's a long pit stop.
Oh, great exit there from Kunshabo. And yeah, he's now 1.3, 1.4, nearly 2 seconds ahead as they head down to turn 1. And also Stroom in the chat says Tom Davison for the win. At the moment, it's looking very, very likely. He's leading ahead of Kieran Sharp now. We've also got ahead of Ryan Walker on the exit of the pits there. So for Kieran and Gurgley, the exit of the pit lane has helped them very, very dearly and got themselves into a P2 respectively each. O-Ring is now 1.6 seconds back, as this is a replay of Thomas Martin in the LMP3. He made a mistake when at turn 13, I think he might have done. So he head through into ring. Yeah, losing the rear. That's what we saw in Sebring from many drivers, just losing the rear. Those cars, those LMP3s, if you get them rears heated up too much, they really become a handful in the medium and high speed corners. So on board of Nick Clemens now in P5, right behind the back of Pickler, who's now 30 seconds back from Ethan Owen, as Josh Millington enters the pit lane. So his first pit stop and his last pit stop, hopefully, in this race. 10 minutes left to go, 9 minutes each left to go in this race. So we'll have a 9-minute sprint towards the line and hopefully can keep it ahead of second and third. Let's hope he can stop in his pit lane, in his pit box correctly, and luckily for him, doesn't make any mistakes and has to reverse back into it. So this is Clibbins yet again, battling for P4 with Pitler down in towards turn 10 they go. Let's see if we're going to move from Clibbins a little bit too far back, and this is Gunshabo as well, now currently in P2. We'll see. Does Josh Willington get that good exit out of the pit lane? Does he make it work as they head down in towards turn 1?
He's still in the pits.
There's Josh Willington. He's still in the pits, and that's Gunshabo going through one of the GT4s. Has this worked here for Gunshabo down in towards turn 1? We'll see shortly. Millington. He does. Yes, he has. Gunshabo and O'Ring have took first and second. Millington, after having such a strong lead now, was dropped down 2.5 seconds. So that undercut there from the top two was worked in Gunshabo, who had a heartbreak in round 1. He's looking to take victory here in round 2, but we've still got 9 minutes to go. There's only 2 seconds between the top 2 and Josh Millington, who's 5 seconds back, so a lot can still happen. But Kunchabo, as long as he keeps it calm and collected, in a very good position to try and win this race. Nick Clibbins, he's on the back of Pit flowing towards turn 1, that gap 2.5 tenths of a second. Now less than 2 tenths of a second as they head into the braking zone shortly for turn 1. Do we see a move from Clibbins to the inside line? He brakes later, has to back off as he just doesn't have the run into turn 1 that he would like, and he's still stuck behind in that P5 position, but he's got 8 minutes to go. He looks like he's got a little bit more pace than Pickles. If he wants, he can just sit back and try and make that move when it's very obvious for him to do so.
I'm just having a look at the pit stop times there between the drivers as well, too, as you are talking, as we're still seeing this battle, of course, occurring at the moment for P4, essentially. And yes, so it was interesting, a long stop, isn't it, for O'Ring, but still, that's what cost him the lead of that race. And we kind of said that at the top of the show, didn't we? As we saw last week, it's going to come down perhaps to the pit stops because of the fact that they're so evenly paced. And once again, we've seen another example of it. We had the pit stop did not work out for Millington, of course, by the undercut being by staying out too long, and then of course the pit stop for O-Ring by being a little bit longer now has perhaps cost him the race win. See, 7 minutes to go.
Is he back with us?
Yes. Oh, I think you probably couldn't hear me.
No, I couldn't see the screen either.
Yeah.
But luckily, I don't think I missed too much action, did I? Now this is Clibbins, cut back in at the right side, looking to get his...
Oh dear. We're going to have to get a cable on. You're back. Here we go. So we're looking at the pictures of Clibbins on pitch line going into turn 1. There's 6 minutes remaining of this race. So we got 6 or so laps, give or take, at best.
Yeah, outside line for Clibbins. Can he make that move in towards that first corner? No, he goes a little bit deep. And that's cost him time, but he could get a good switchback on the exit. Can he make it to work? No, he can't, so he's lost a bit of time there on the back. Here and sharpened. That gap between first and second, I think, has come down quite considerably.
It has. They're starting to spread out a little bit, and so you're going to have to see about the time that they're going to be doing between the difference of. And oh no, O-Ring's gone around. So the man that put this car on pole, that was looking all good. I don't know if this is going to be a self error. Yes, it is, and he's hit. Oh, that's going to be bad on your back, isn't it? And that's.
Oh, big shame there for O-Ring. You know, he's looking so strong in quality. Took pole by 0.3 of a second. Looked strong in that first half of the race, but now after that pit stop, it just hasn't gone well, and he will take P3, of course, I think. And this one, that's smart into the wall in the replay. Yeah. Down at turn 1. That is a big crash into that wall. Big shame for him, but he continues on in P6.
What's he done here, bud?
That's what's happened there. He's
just
locked it up the rears. A bit like what we saw with, I believe it was Patrick Den earlier on. So locked the rears completely in towards so I'm back on board with Clibbins, still trying to get after Pickler into P4, but just never has the run into turn 1 to do so. And now I've noticed that Kieran Sharp has got 8/10 gap to Tom Davidson, so he's gaining as well for that P1. So maybe we could see Kieran Sharp in that Porsche fight for the victory. And this time around, you know, we got the Mercedes, Porsche and Aston Martin in the top 3. Last time it was a lot different story. It was only one of the constructors, I believe, in that top 5. I think it was 4 Aston Martins in the top 5. This time around, we got 3 different classes of GT4s in the top 3. So that's Kieran Shaw there on our screens, just being overtaken there by one of the, I think that might be O-Ring.
O-Ring,
towards
yes.
turn 4.
Oh, O-Ring's been squeezed in between these two drivers. He's going to be frustrated, but he's 4 seconds to change down the road. He's just got to get on with it. And once again, these drivers are perfectly fine. They're battling it out, remember, Mr. Davison and Mr. Sharp. They're doing their thing, and once again, it's up to Mr. O-Ring to find a way around there, and just got caught with that traffic a little bit and probably dropped another second or so. But then again, he wouldn't be there if he didn't make that mistake earlier, right? So he's still really, if anything, got himself to blame.
Indeed. So they're heading towards turn 16 yet again to begin of the lap. 4 minutes left to go in this race. So yet again, this race is, it's just so quickly. It flew by. This race is completely. We've had action the whole way through, which is what we love to see, of course. As we head back down towards turn 1, this is battle for the lead for the GT4s. Great run from Kieran Sharp. Can he get that lead in towards that first corner? Tom Davison has done every single lap in the GT4s so far. You can see them moving about, trying to keep that lead, and you can see Kieran Sharp just trying to keep in that slipstream into turn 1.
Look what Kieran broke a lot earlier too. Sorry, cut you off there. You see, Kieran broke a lot early going to that corner, and yet there's still the exit speed was pretty much similar. So,
and that Porsche looks very strong, doesn't it? In the break, in the straight line speed.
Certainly does. This is going to be absolutely fantastic when these two drivers, as you said out there, that you want Tom D for the win. Well, he's on the cards for the win because he got 3 minutes now left, and all he has to do is keep the boss man, Kieran Sharp, in his rear mirror. It's easier said than done, of course, but you got to give it to Tom. You want to hope that he has, because he's been leading this whole race, essentially hasn't he, since the start, and it's just going to continue to do it for a few more laps there. Look at that. Now, actually, we're going to look at Tom. Sorry, there it is. So I was going to say, it's a bit of a gap back there, but he's got, a car full of mirrors. And you remember, but Walker's just in the background there, so you don't count out Walker, because if these two come together, and we've seen drivers come together so far this series as well as this race today, it is very much possible. So if you're sitting back, Mr. Walker, I would just sit back at the moment there, mate, and just hang out there and see it pans out there, because you get yourself a race win but you got to be in it to win it. That's always the case, isn't it? And at the moment,
definitely, and that's what Schulter hoped for last race, and it did work. Unfortunately, this race, down in P7, can't seemingly make any more moves in the field. So big shame for him to be all the way down from victory in round 1 to P7 last in round 2, but back on board with Kieran Sharp down in towards turn 1. We know this Porsche got a great run every time in towards turn 1, a lot of obviously using that slipstream as well on the back of Tom Davidson. Has he got enough to get himself for a move for the lead? The gap's 3.5 tenths of a second. I don't think it's enough into turn 1. No, it's not. So he's going to have to start thinking about doing it in the corners and trying to somehow make Tom Davidson make a mistake, because he's just got no way through. Decent exit out to turn 2, they head down in towards turn 3. He gains within 2.5 tenths of a second, but if you're not alongside that car into the braking zone, you're not going to make a move. So he's got to really think, in the next 2 minutes, how he's going to make this work, because there's only 2 minutes left of this race. That's not a lot of time at all to fight for the lead.
Now, and the LMP3s, as you can see on the track map with the orange dots, approaching into the third sector, the final sector now. As you can see, the one, in fact, actually looking to lap the other LMP classes. Sorry out there to Frank. I think your son's going to be about lapped soon. Is it the son? Father or son? I can't quite remember. But
could be. I'm not sure. Maybe.
Sorry, Frank, if you are, father and son or not. But we shall see, because there is our race leader, and he's about to start the last lap. The Sid Barney's going to be waving. He should be able to get another lap in there for sure. There's the way. There it is. So we are in the penultimate lap. So this is it, crunch time for Sharp.
We can see the chat, Stu saying, go on Sharp 8. So he's got one lap pretty much to do it now. 3 tenths as they enter turn 16. They'll have a good run down towards turn 1. We know this Porsche is very good in a straight line. We know it's good, especially when it's got that slipstream of the car ahead. So they head down towards turn 1. A great exit there from Kieran Sharp. The gap, 4 tenths of a second as they head down in towards the braking zone at turn 1, which is still quite far away. Nearly about, I think, still about 3/4 of a mile. As they head through, past the start finish line, down towards turn 1, you can see gaining there for Kieran Sharp, but I don't think it will be enough. The gap, 2.5 tenths of a second as they enter turn 1. But you can still see just trying to keep in that slipstream. Has to brake early, can't make a move there. So hopefully Tom Davidson makes a mistake in the braking zone. No, he doesn't. Keeps it calm and collected through there. Nick Clibborn's also going back into the pit lane for the LMP3. So maybe he's run out of fuel on those final few laps. And he did pit very early. But back to the GT4s, we can still see Kieran Sharp very close to the back of Tom Davidson. This is the only battle for the lead we've got on circuit, and it's a battle for the lead. It's Kieran Sharp who finished third last round, looking for a victory here today. Tom Davison didn't race in round one. He's also looking for an inaugural victory in this championship as they head down in towards turn 6 they go. And I still think that Kieran Sharp is a little bit too far back. He needs Tom Davison to make a mistake. Tom Davison just needs to keep it calm as we head through down into that little bit of a straight before we hit turn 10. And I believe we've got our leaders shortly going to be heading up to line in the LMP3s as well.
There he is right now.
So Kunshawo made a mistake in round one. Makes no mistakes in round two. He will take victory here in the LMP3s ahead of Josh Millington, making his first race appearance here at the TSRC Sports Car Challenge, and a bit of fun there at the end of the line for him. And Ethan O-Ring, after taking pole by 0.3 of a second, unfortunately comes home P3 for him, and he'll definitely be in order with that one. And then back to the GC4 class. You can see that gap between him and Tom Davison and Kieran Sharp getting very close. You've got Kieran trying to go around the outside at the final corner, down towards the line. Great takes it for Kieran Sharp. They head through towards on who will take victory for the GT4s. I think Tom Davison's just about got it as they head through up towards that line. That gap's closing 1.5 tenths of a second up towards on. Who will it be? Will it be the Porsche? Will it be the Mercedes as they head through up towards on? And it will be Tom Davison. 95 thousandths of a second between him and Kieran Sharp. Great action between those two, and one more lap and that could have ended very, very differently.
Oh, wow. Absolutely one more lap that could have ended differently. That kind of what you'd have the radio, wouldn't you, there to say to the LMP3, so go slower, guys, go slower, or at least go probably quicker there so you would have got another lap in. But yes, that was definitely one down, and I don't think any of the drivers, I don't think Tom or Mr. Sharp would have, no doubts about that one. They'd be like, all right, one of us would have get it, flip a coin, 95 thousandths of a second. Very interesting. So what happens to Clemens? Clemens come back out again too, didn't he? So after that pit stop, but he has like 3 seconds or so, wasn't it? He's still actually out on the track. They are racing, but he'll cross the line now. And there's Martin. So Martin and of course Shaliska will get eventually. You finish bringing it home there, Bass, which is what I like to see for drivers anyway. Even if you are a little bit further down the road, you never know what could happen. She said it could have been. You've seen some of these drivers lose it even on the very last lap. Before in the past, so there it is. That is another exciting race, isn't it? Always different fields to class to look at from the drivers, and this time around, our GT4 challenge was definitely there at Fuji.
It was a great battle to the end, and yet again in the second round. We had a great battle in round one at Sebring. We've had a great battle here for round two at Fuji. We can see the results on our screens now, and it is Gogli Kunshawa who takes the victory here for the LMP3 class, 1.3 seconds ahead of Josh Millington, who for his first race started P5, ended in P2. No better way he could have got that result. Ethan O-Ring in P3, and he will finish 9 seconds back. So that spin cost him that victory, unfortunately, after taking pole, followed by Maurice Picture in P4, 40 seconds back, so not ideal for him. Then we have Nick Clemens in 5th, Thomas Martin 6th, Bash Shilstra rounding out the points for that LMP3 class. And unfortunately, Patrick Den retired on, I believe it was in the first 10 laps. And then the GC4 class, Tom Davison took a great victory ahead of Kieran Sharp, 93 thousandths, separating the top two at the line. Then we have Ryan Walker claiming P3 after claiming P4 last time, so very good result for him. Then we have Hamling in P4, Higgins, Bogdan, Long, Pike, Moss, and Liam Giles rounded at the top 10 for that. And I believe, unfortunately, Liam Giles did retire as well after that contact at lap 1. I believe it was turn 3. So a big shame for him along with Patrick Dent. But yeah, really, really fun race, and I really enjoyed that one. And I can't wait for round 3 next week either.
I can't wait. Here is the dying stages of this battle that you saw. Look at the exit between Tom and Mr. Kieran Sharp. You can see this is it. So where are they on the track map? Because you can see dying stages, of course, as we were showing you our race leader.
Wide.
And yeah, look at this.
Kieran there, trying to go in there, so I quite couldn't hook it up on the outside of the corner, so then had to go for a switch back down towards the line, and he had a really good exit. But Tom Nelson just about held it off. Great job from him indeed. And yeah, yet again, another grandstand finish. And it's only 6 rounds. I wish it'd be more if we keep having races like this.
Oh yeah, I wish so, for sure. You can see the other LMP3 car just not getting involved on that one towards the dying stages of this race. Just going, all right, guys, go for it. Especially because that's the boss man there too. Bingo, there it is. That's what 93 thousandths of a second looks like from a chopper.
Yeah, really, really good race, and well, I couldn't have enjoyed that anymore.
No, and that's it. That's what they used to say. It's time for a laydown now, I think, isn't it? Because By the way, I still haven't seen the Formula One qualifying, but we won't talk about that one. I'll watch it back later. Usually too busy. Oh, you did mention something about the Formula One as in the grandstand, right? But thankfully you said nobody was hurt, so
Luckily,
there are some
one of the
news.
grandstands. I believe it was down at the exit of Junseo. The roof completely come off, unfortunately. But luckily, no one was injured. But that's what happens when you have a storm in the North Americas. Or South America, I suppose.
Yes, exactly. South America, am I? I'm in Central. North America, as you'll know. Well, we're in everything is bigger and better in Japan, as well as the motor racing, because Fuji is over for round 2. You want to wrap it up there, my friend?
Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining us yet again for another round of the TSRC Sports Car Championship. We're back next week for round 3 at Watkins Glen. So I'm very excited to see how that race will go underway. And after these first 2 races, I can't be more pumped up for it. So we'll see you again next week. And make sure to like and subscribe to both the TSRC and the JPB channels. And we'll be back next week. So have a good evening, everyone, and good night.